having me on today. I appreciate that introduction. I know that you're in another location. I know you've got something else you've got to be doing, but I appreciate you taking the time to introduce me. I am so excited to interview and chat with Tierni again. We had a chat about her business quite some time ago, and she was doing really, really well, but she's doing much, much better now, and I'm excited for her to share what's been going on with her business. Like Eric said, please, anytime throughout this webinar, if you think of a question for Tierni, this webinar today is really meant to pick her brain. You know, what worked, what didn't work, you know, whatever you want to ask, type it in that question box and I'll read them off to her so she can get those answered for you. There's a lot of interest in this industry. I talk to people all day long that are not quite sure, you know, hey, what's the deal with medical billing? Is it really worth getting into? And I mean, all I can tell you is so far this year we have sold out. Every one of our training classes have sold out. And these webinars that we do every week, we have over 100 people signed up for these webinars that you're on right now every week. I think that last count, we had 122 people signed up for this Tierni webinar today. So I don't know, that kind of speaks volumes to me about people realizing that there can be money to be made in this industry if done correctly. So that's what we're here to talk about, and I'd like to go ahead and see if I can get Tierni to come on her webcam here. Let's see if I can get her on.
Hi.
There she is. Hey. Hi, Tierni.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. I know I interviewed you a year ago, 2 years ago maybe. I don't remember when it was, but I know that a lot has happened since then, and I know a lot of people are anxious to hear your story. So if everybody can hear her loud and clear, let's just do it. Why don't you take it from the beginning? I know I actually was the business coach that you chatted with in the beginning when you were looking into this opportunity. So what led you to look into medical billing? What led you to ABS, if you want to share?
Okay, so let's see. I had started out, I was a stay-at-home mom for 12 years, and I had always dabbled with other businesses, kind of always been entrepreneurial minded, if you will. But I knew that when the kids went back to school, that I wanted to go back to work. But I knew also that I didn't want to work for someone. So I definitely wanted to be able to control my own hours and my own work schedule. So I actually started researching different franchises, and that's actually how I stumbled upon ABS. And I think it took me probably a month or two to kind of narrow it down to you guys and one other company, and the other company was like, I don't know, marketing, you know, putting company names on mugs or something like that. And I was really going to go with the other one, and I think part of the reason was because my husband's super skeptical, and so he actually has a degree in criminal justice. So when he would watch Patrick's presentations for ABS, he thought that it was an infomercial because he is so, you know, excited and passionate. So it took a lot of investigating. I actually ended up getting in contact with another licensee who was amazing and allowed me to come out and spend some time with her, and I got to see her operations, and that was amazing. And I think when I came home from that trip, it took me probably a day to determine that I wanted to do it. So one of the best decisions I've ever made, for sure.
Yeah, no, I remember specifically you seemed skeptical, and your husband were pretty skeptical. You hammered me with questions, many questions. So tell me a little bit. Did you say what your background was? You didn't have any healthcare background, right?
No, I had no healthcare background whatsoever. No, I've been a stay-at-home mom for 12 years. I've always dabbled in real estate, but I mean, nothing in this industry.
Yeah. Now you. How long have you lived in Yuba City?
I've lived here all my life. We moved away for a short time, and then somehow it pulls you back. So yeah, we're here now.
So one thing I get a lot is, you know, people that are in towns that they think are smaller, and they wonder if there's going to be any market. And what would you say to people who were thinking in those terms?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously for me, I mean, living in the Yuba Sutter area, this is a very small community. I think with the combined locations, I think we've got maybe 75,000 people, and that's spread out kind of between about 3 different towns.
Right.
So definitely a concern that I had, and my mom actually was a midwife, and I had gone to her before I made the decision, and she pretty much said, "You're not going to get any clients. This is a small town. These doctors, you know, they kind of have like this good old boys group. They're not going to let any outsider in, if you will. They have in-house billers. They don't want to outsource, and it's not going to work." And I really considered not doing it because of her insight. I mean, she, you know, was actively in the industry. But obviously I went ahead and moved forward, and I haven't had any problems whatsoever. So I'm glad I did, obviously.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't let her talk you out of it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
me too.
yeah. So I guess one of the biggest concerns that people have with this is like, obviously, for most people, it's marketing and getting clients. You know, they're not. Most people are not so concerned about the technical side of things, but that's the question we get a lot. So what, if you want to share kind of like the marketing methods that worked for you the best, and what marketing method, you know, worked to get your first client, and then I guess how long did it take to get your first client? Refresh my memory on that.
So I'm a huge believer in tackling different kind of avenues, if you will. I don't think for me, you know, just doing networking, meaning joining a group, or just doing direct mail marketing. I really think it's important that you kind of sprinkle your marketing pieces out throughout. So, you know, do direct mail, get involved with networking, join groups. I joined the Rotary, I joined our Chamber of Commerce. That kind of got the word out. I went door to door. Honestly, what I did was I used every single tip that you guys gave me when I came to training. I implemented every single one of them, and over the course of time started building relationships, and it actually took me 6 months to get my first account. Okay. And the way that I got it was I had done everything that I had just said, but ultimately I did a live presentation and like a seminar, and everybody came to the luncheon. I fed everybody. During that time, the RAC audit was a hot topic, and so we marketed that. I think we only sent out like 100 invitations. We had 35 people respond, which if you guys know anything about direct mail marketing, that's a huge response. Yeah. I had 25 people show up. I think I had a total of like 4 docs there, and from that seminar, I ended up signing my first 2 clients.
Did you do food? Is it one of those lunch and learns things where you did food?
Yeah. I really tried to make it nice. I wanted to show them, you know, that I was kind of classy. So, I mean, we, you know, fed them. I had baskets for everybody. When they sat down, they had a binder with a pin, you know, with all my logo and information like that. So really tried to show them that, you know, we were an established company, and so it was great.
We have found when it comes to medical providers, if you feed them, they will come.
Absolutely, they will.
They love free food.
That's right.
So did you have any type of industry expert that you helped do any kind of part of the presentation, or was it just you, just all you?
No, it was just us. Actually, at the time, another licensee, I tried to talk him into coming and doing the presentation for me because at the time I was such a chicken. And he was going to come, but his wife ended up having a baby. And so that had to get canceled. So my partner at the time, because when I started ABS, I had a partner. So her and I just kind of scrambled and got the content together and ended up, you know, doing the presentation ourselves. But that was my original plan, was to pay this licensee to come and present for us. Yeah.
Well, so you just jumped in there and did it.
Yep.
Sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah. Well, and here, if I may, I'll add this tip for anyone interested in doing that. I think one of the things that helped us, because again, I mean, you have to realize that, you know, I was new. I didn't even have a single client yet. So of course, your initial fear is that you are going to be asked something that you can't answer. Right. And now I'm in public. I have a room of 25 people that potentially could do that to me. So when I started the presentation, I was very clear about, hey, you know, we value your time. We want to make sure that we get you guys in here and out. So please save your questions until after the seminar is over, and then I'll be happy to address anything. That way I didn't get public questions that I got stuck on,
yeah,
and that
good.
really helped.
Good, yeah, that's a good tip. Hopefully people are taking notes here. But that's how we teach our licensees to present themselves, because I mean, you went through the live training, right? It's only 5 days, so there's no way we can teach you everything there is to learn, you know, in the entire industry. So we tell people, look, we're going to show you how to become a perceived expert. That's the key.
Sure.
As long as you know a few % more than they do, you're the expert. You know, you may not know everything, but yeah, you're right. You have to just know in your mind that, hey, if they throw me a curveball here, I can rely on ABS to give me an answer. You know, I can find an answer and tell them, hey, look, I can get that answer. You know, so.
Absolutely. And I can remember, like, going into my first couple of, you know, not interviews, but meetings with potential prospects, and picking up the phone and calling, you know, support and saying, okay, I'm going into this, I need a refresher. You know, what if they say this? What do I say? You know, so I mean, I can sincerely say that I felt like every step of the way. And I mean, even now with all the clients I have, I mean, you know, Adam, I contact you guys, you know, here and there when I need help. So still to this day, I feel 100% supported.
Good to hear it. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, role playing with business partners or other staff members, and just kind of going back and forth on possible things that they might say. That's really helpful. Very helpful. Yeah. We got some questions coming in here. I'll go ahead and just start asking here. Jim Hunter, he's asking, what is your core clientele base? What types of medical fields have you had greatest success and profit ratios? I was going to ask you what your first client, what type of specialty they were. Is there any specialties that you gravitate towards, or you feel like you're a specialist because you yourself as an expert in a certain type of specialty billing? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I would say the opposite, meaning it's not that there are specialties that I gravitate towards. For me personally in my business, there's specialties that I stay away from. So for me in my business, I don't do like any chiropractor billing. I stay away from like optometrists. I tend to like the high dollar clients. So surgeons, cardio, you know, vascular docs, cardiothoracic, you know, neurologist. So, and it's not that I target them, because really I do market to all specialties. And I can't say really that I would say primary care probably is our biggest specialty base, but that's because just nationally speaking, that's about the highest specialty. I mean, you tend to have a lot of primary care docs, you know, at least we do in our area. But no, we have specialties of all kinds.
So you're working with all of those now as clients that you mentioned?
Yeah, we have, I mean, primary care, OB, every single one I just mentioned, urologist, I mean, you know, everything.
Yeah, okay. Well, hopefully that answers that. Let's see. Cora is asking, who are the sales reps that help get clients? Did you ever have any sales reps, or was it all you?
You know what? I have used sales reps before, and they've been great, and I encourage people to do that. When I started building my business, again, I think you guys have to remember that I'm in a small area, and my intent was not to grow my company ginormous. So I wasn't thinking like on a national perspective. For me, I was a stay-at-home mom. I wanted to make $5,000 was my first goal. That's all I wanted to make at first. And then when I made that, I'm like, oh, 10,000. And then when I made that, I'm like, oh, I'll set my next goal. So, you know, it was like, you know, I don't know. I just think that for me, it's just been because I live in this small community and I wanted to be with my family. This has just really been my focus and my target here.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, you said that the first client that you got, that was from that Lunch and Learn seminar, or that was?
Yeah, and actually what had happened was we kind of hooked him, if you will, before I started doing, I did kind of twofold. So I would do direct mail marketing, and I would pair it with door-to-door. So when I would go around door to door, I would leave information, but as soon as I would leave, I would put that provider in my pipeline to then market to them. So then I'd start doing direct mailers. So I had been in there several times and had met his office staff and whatnot. So when it came time to actually do the presentation and the seminar, we just, you know, emailed out postcards, and they just happened to sign up for it.
And the specialty was what now?
He's a general surgeon.
General surgeon. Okay. Cool. Let's see. Amon is asking, who's your #1 competitor and what makes ABS different?
Ooh.
What kind of competition do you run into out there?
This is going to sound bad, but I don't run into competition.
Oh, you're lying. Come on.
Honest to God, I don't. To be quite honest, in my town, we don't have another billing company.
Really?
So, swear before the Lord. Yes,
wow.
I'm the only one here. Now, in surrounding areas, there are. But, I mean, reality is that there's a lot of billing companies out there, you know, so you are going to run into people. But I think what you guys have to remember and keep in mind is that, you know, in this industry, there's a huge fear factor that the physicians have. I mean, you are going to be managing their income, and that is scary for them. So developing personal relationships with these docs is huge. So, you know, it doesn't matter who the competition is. There's always going to be somebody that is comparable with your personality that you will always be able to find clients for. So not everybody's going to, you know, like the competition. Not everybody's going to like you. So you just need to get your name out there, get out and meet as many people as you possibly can, and the clients will start to come.
That's a good point. So, I mean, you're going to these networking events, and are you looking for doctors at these things, or who are you looking to talk to?
Honestly, I mean, my kind of theory is just turn over every stone you can, because you have no idea, you know, if you're talking to somebody and they are, I don't know, an attorney, you know, you don't know if their cousin's brother's mom is a doctor looking for a client. So, I mean, talk to everybody you can, share your business with everybody you can, and, you know, over the course of time, getting the word out, then, like I said, those leads will start to, you know, develop. You'll start building those relationships, and then you will start getting clients from it.
Have you built any relationships with anybody like they work with doctors but they don't do billing, like attorneys, CPAs, real estate people, IT companies, anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would say that obviously came through like the networking avenue, you know, joining Rotary and joining Chamber of Commerce, LaTip, you know, getting involved that way. But I would say the majority of my clients personally have come from marketing, and then word of mouth. So once I get a client, you know, they're happy, so then they tell somebody else, and then we get one that way.
Yeah. So tell me, from start to now, you know, how long you have been doing this, and how big has your business grown? Like, where are you at now?
So I can't even believe it's been this long, but I came to training in 2008, so it's almost been a decade.
Wow.
I know.
Time flies.
I know. So I went to training in September, I think, and I came home and started marketing in October. I didn't get my first client until like March or April. Signed a couple docs. Ended up hiring. I knew right from the beginning I did not want to do the billing. I just wanted to be the business owner. So I immediately hired people to manage the billing. And then over the course of probably about 3 years, we would pick up just clients here and there from doing the things that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
And then I was blessed. I actually ended up landing a huge account. I actually submitted 2 proposals for it over the course of 2 years that were turned down. I was told both times I was too small. I would not be able to support them, but I didn't give up. I kept submitting my proposals. Both times they ended up going with another company. Every single time the group would dissolve because for whatever reason, I don't know the internal things that took place. I just know that it just didn't work. And then finally, all the pieces kind of came together. And what I had actually done is when I first started my company, I got involved with a hospital fundraiser They do a golf tournament every year. So I started golfing in the golf tournament, and I'd go to the golf tournament, and all these docs would be there, and I would beat them, and yep, there we go. And that's funny. And I'd meet the docs, and I'd meet the administrators, and so anyway, I mean, that was kind of like, you know, getting my foot in the door, and I really did start to develop relationships through that. And then lo and behold, I get a phone call from someone that said they're starting this group back up. You need to try to give another bid. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've already done this twice. I've already been turned down. And I just thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it again. You know, all they can do is say no, right? It stings for a minute, but then you move on.
Right.
And I got it. So we went from, of course, having our own clients previous to that, and we still have those clients, knock on wood. I've never lost a client. Let's see, I guess, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, we ended up signing this large account. They came to us with 20 docs, and right now I think we're up to 70, 75 right now, and they're growing. I mean, like I just got an email, oh, we're adding 2 more. So, I mean, they're constantly adding to what we're doing. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's been really exciting. It's been a huge blessing. Had I known, you know, back in 2008, I mean, I have this now. I don't know that I ever could have predicted that, but pretty crazy. So I feel very blessed.
Wow. So a lot of your staff is dedicated to that one contract with those.
They are.
Is that an ACO, accountable care organization, or what is that group?
Kind of. They're structured a little bit different, but basically.
Okay. Wow. That's a great story. So your initial contract that they signed with you, they had 20, but they told you, hey, we're going to be adding more as we go. And
yeah, I knew that they were going to add more. And actually what I did was it worked out really good. Was they were brand new, and a lot of the docs that they were recruiting actually already had clinics. So I went to them and said, I will hire your staff. Like, I'm going to go through the interview process and everything and make sure that they're a fit with me, but I will hire them if it works. And that way they're not jobless, because they all had billers, of course, that, you know, worked for them. And if they were going to join the group and now I'm doing their billing, obviously we have some displaced employees. So that's what I did. As we would get these docs, I would interview their staff, and then I would pull their billers over to my team, and you know, they would just kind of do the transition. And it was great for me because they already knew that doc's billing.
Yeah.
And so they would just, you know, come aboard, and yeah, it worked out really well.
And you have how many staff now?
12.
12 staff, okay. And office space. Well, how big is your office? Just curious.
It is downstairs. It's 2 stories, so downstairs it's about 6,000 square feet.
Okay, nice.
So we encompass the downstairs. I just bought this building last year, but we've been here 3 years. So we encompass the entire downstairs, and then the upstairs being developed right now, so we can move up there too.
Did you say a 3rd story?
No, just 2. No, I was just saying, yeah, we're downstairs right now. The upstairs is being developed, so we can expand and move up there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, just so you know, your staff is very efficient. When I tried to call you the other day, they answered immediately.
Awesome. That's great to hear.
Yep, they're on top of it.
They are. They're great.
Yep. So let's see. We got some more questions here. Reg is asking, how many of your clients are using EMRX, iClaim, and ChoicePay? What percentage do you administer the application for them? So I guess, are you offering any of our other ancillary services? Are you mostly just doing the iClaim billing and that's it? You know, how many of those doctors that you have are using EMRX versus their own, the EHR and that sort of thing? So
I use iClaim. Is I would say, the main service that I offer. You know, and honestly, that's probably just my own fault. I just never really focused on the other services. I think they're great. I just haven't focused on them. And I think my situation, I think, is a tad different, just in the sense that, honestly, my focus became really kind of like, you know, laser beam focused when I got this large account, because it was so important to me to make sure that I was taking care of them, because I felt like if I was taking care of them, that they would continue to use me. I would grow with them and kind of become woven into the fabric of what they were doing, if you will. So, I mean, I will be honest, it's like I did a lot of marketing in the beginning. Then as I started to get, referrals and things like that from existing clients, and then as this group started to go, I kind of started backing off from the marketing. So it wasn't something that I was constantly doing. In 2017, though, I kind of feel like I'm to a place where I got this now. Like I've got it down pat. As they add new clients, I know how to, the flow and the structure for it. So I'm really at a place where I'm finally starting to re-dive into the marketing, and the services, the additional services that he was asking about might be something that I, look into in the future of offering.
So do your current clients ask you for stuff outside of billing, to ask you, okay, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? Credentialing or whatever the case may be?
They do, and I do help with that. I have certified coders on staff. That's new since I've started. When I first started, I did nothing with coding whatsoever. I feel like that's been a good service to be able to offer. But I mean, credentialing is, I've dabbled in it, but it's not something that, that everybody talks to me about. A lot of the times, just for my clients, they kind of know I'm kind of picky when it comes to my services. I kind of like to specialize in the billing and the coding because there's a lot of information just within that industry that I like to just, I like to be educated on every single payer, everything that's going on. So that's kind of my focus. But I mean, absolutely, I think, you could kind of go whatever avenue you wanted to go with your business. If you wanted to add credentialing services and, other things, then by all means, that's something that's needed.
Yeah, well, you make an important point. I mean, customer service is everything in this business. And if you are focused more on, one or two particular things that you do and do them really, really well, and, you tell your clients, hey, I'm the owner of this business, here's my cell phone, if you need anything, you call me. That speaks volumes,
Yeah.
Are most of these doctors that you have, are they in your area? Are they outside the area, or where are they located?
The majority of them are here. I mean, they don't live here, they commute, but yes, the majority of the clinics and whatnot are here. But I have clients all the way to San Francisco, so I kind of focus on Northern California.
Okay. Let's see. Jonathan's asking, after you got your first doctor, how quickly did your client base grow?
Again, I mean, I think for me, I didn't spend a ton of, I've honest to goodness never spent a ton of time on marketing. I really did rely on client referrals. So I was not in a rush to grow my business. I was quite happy with getting a client or two here and there. So I mean, I would say on average I gained maybe 2 to 3 clients a year until I got my large group. And honestly, that was done with very minimal marketing. I mean, like I said, I just really didn't do it that much. It really came through referrals. So doing a good job with the clients I have, they tell other people, and then we get a client that way.
Yeah, we've seen the average, if there's just one person doing the marketing,
yeah.
about 3 to 4 doctors per year. If there's just one person. So.
Well, and if you're doing, I mean, I think that makes perfect sense. I'm doing nothing and I'm getting 2 to 3. You're marketing and it ups it. I mean, so I think it really is just, and again, that's what's so great about, being an ABS licensee is it's your business. If, you're not happy with 2 or 3 clients and, per year, then by all means get out there and find more, because I mean, they're out there. You just got to go get them. Can you hear me still? Hello? Uh-oh.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
All right, I had to turn off my webcam. I was getting some interference there. So
Okay.
The question was from Cora. What's the hardest part? What's the hardest aspect of starting out? Kind of a generic question there.
I would say, I mean, all I can speak for is myself, obviously, but I think the intimidation factor for me was I had no college education. I know that I'm getting ready to walk into a meeting with a doctor that's, you know, gone to college for 10 years. And that was scary. So I think, you know, getting over the fear of, you know, kind of like I said in the beginning, you know, what questions are they going to ask? Am I going to be able to answer them? But because we're licensees and we have ABS, I mean, that's a huge asset to us because I think they really do prepare you for those types of situations, you know, so you know what to do when you are asked the difficult questions. So I guess that's what it would have been for me. It was just that getting over that insecurity, if you will.
Yeah, that's typically what we see is just realizing the value of what you have and realizing what your work is worth also, which kind of leads into my next question from Fernando here. I think Fernando's referring to what you charge doctors. He's saying between 6 to 10%, if this is your case, what is the percentage you feel more comfortable with? I guess the question is what are you typically charging your clients, I think is what he's asking.
So for me, it depends on the services that they want us to do. And when I say service, so what I do is I structure based on different support that we can provide them. So are we checking eligibility or are they checking eligibility? Are we taking a face sheet and entering the diagnosis codes and the CPTs, or are they doing it for us? You know, what are we doing when we're scrubbing the claim? Are we appending modifiers or are they appending modifiers? Are we doing appeals? Are we doing collections? Are we taking patient support calls? So I kind of list out everything that we can offer to them as far as service and kind of have them do a checklist of like, all right, I want these 10 things, and then that's what I base my fee off of. And I would say I probably usually come in around 6% in my area. And again, we live in a very small community, so, but that gives me plenty of profit.
Is that typically, what was I going to ask you? I lost it. Foster is asking, I think you touched on this briefly, but what are the size of the practices you serve? Solos, multiple? You have basically a little bit of everything, right?
I have a little bit of everything. When I first started, I had no standards whatsoever. I took anybody that would do business with me. Now I have a little bit more standard. So I like my clients to be right around 25,000 or higher. Is kind of like my target. I mean, if they're a little bit under, that's fine. But I mean, ultimately, that's what I'm looking for. 25,000 would be like a minimum or higher. And when I say 25,000, I'm talking that we are collecting $25,000 for them per month.
Okay, gotcha. And you get a percentage of that.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask you before. Are all those questions that you listed off, is that kind of information that you're gathering in the initial practice analysis that you do for them, or?
Yeah, I mean, what I do is I will kind of do a pre-assessment, because what I found is you will talk to a lot of people that will waste your time. So I try to pre-qualify them, and I do it through a series of asking them to do different things for me to see how serious they are. Once somebody goes through those steps, then I'll go ahead and take the step of actually meeting with them. I used to get a phone call, oh, can you come over here? I want to talk to you about billing. And then I would rush over there. I'd rush 2 hours away to a town, and then it would end up being, you know, nothing ultimately. And I got sick of doing that. So I just started, like I said, kind of pre-qualifying them. So asking them questions on the front end, getting as much information as I could, trying to figure out what services they wanted. Then I would go in once they did all that, because if somebody's going to give you all that information, they're pretty serious. So that just kind of helped me to like weed out the people, you know, that were just kind of questioning or inquiring, and maybe I was one of 100 people that they were talking to.
I mean, some doctors actually gave you the runaround. You
Right?
don't. You don't say.
I know. Shocking.
I think that is really cool to hear that, though. Like now you're at the point where they have to qualify themselves to you. Like that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is awesome. It is awesome. Yeah, no, I'm telling you, and by the way, when I took my first client, I took him at, I think I came in at like 3.5 or 4 because I wanted a client just to be able to say I had a client.
Yeah.
And after that first one, I was like, never again will I do that much.
Yeah, we hear that quite often. They lowball it to get that first client, and then for some reason, all of their other doctor buddies want the same deal. And
Yeah.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, well, that's cool. So let's see. Jonathan is asking, in your opinion, how well could a business based in Canada function working with American doctors? Do you think it's possible that someone in Canada could market as long as they're marketing in the U.S.? I mean, the system is web-based, so doing the work anywhere with an internet connection would be fine.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, obviously there's some marketing avenues that you won't be able to do unless one of them was going to be door to door, but if you hire a rep, you can achieve that as well. So yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of the system that we have is it's virtually paperless now. I mean, there is still some paper here and there, but if they use the full-blown, EHR system with iClaim, and even I don't know if you're using our iDocs Now service or not, but we have a service where even if a doctor tries to fax you anything on paper, it actually gets scanned and goes up into the cloud, so you can access it through the cloud. I don't know if you're using that.
Yeah, that is the one service that I actually use actively.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about iDocs. See, I'm just so used to doing stuff, I don't even think about it. So yeah, I use iDocs.
So you are basically trying to eliminate the paper in your office, and has that helped?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, what I like about it most is, like for our clients that are out of the area, I mean, like I said, I have clients in San Francisco. So, I mean, I don't see them, so they can easily just scan whatever documentation that they have for us into the system. We know it's HIPAA compliant. I don't have to worry about anything, and it's right there. And in addition to it, you get monthly CDs that all the information's copied. So, I've always got it at my fingertips. So, yeah, no, I really enjoy iDocs.
Cool. Let's see. Daniel's saying, how do your clients get the information over to you for coding and billing? So how are they sending you the claim information, most of your clients?
So most of them just put it into the system. So they're entering the information for us into the system. But honestly, again, that kind of falls into, how do they want us, what do they want our workflow to be? And what I mean by that is, like, one of my huge selling points as a company is that I provide a concierge stylist service. So that means, yes, there's certain policies and procedures that I have as a company that I have to do to be able to function, but I want to become an extension of their office. So if they're willing, to, pay extra money to have us do extra things because it works better for them, then by all means, we'll do that. So I would say for the most part, for all of our clients, it's different. Some people, they'll even drop stuff off to us. Some people actually enter it themselves. Some will put it into iDocs. I mean, it really just kind of depends on what they want us to do.
Yeah. Now, I did hear you say earlier, I think, that you hired a certified coder, but do you have clients where the doctors are making the coding decisions pretty much, and you guys are not really doing coding for them?
Yeah, I would say 98% of our clients do their own coding.
Yeah, I get that question a lot because people are kind of hung up on thinking that they need to know, they need to be certified in coding, and I tell them, for the most part, a lot of doctors are making that decision themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, when it comes to the OIG, which is the governing figure that oversees physicians and their code selection and all that good stuff, the doctors are responsible for their codes. Even if you hire a certified coder, I mean, the coder has some liability, but ultimately the physician's the only one that knows what they did when they were providing the service. So they are responsible for knowing what codes are being submitted on their behalf. So there are a lot of times where they will just give you the, their own charges. You get into bigger organizations like Kaiser and people like that, then they'll have, certified coders who are picking codes. But as licensees, we're not going to be able to touch a Kaiser anyway. So, we're looking for the independent docs. They already know their coding. They're going to give us the charges, and we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. You mentioned the word liability, so let's go there. What do you have in place? Do you have any insurance in place or anything?
I have errors and omission insurance, and when I signed my, I didn't really worry about the amount because I, before had a handful of clients, 10, 15, whatever it was. And then when I signed this bigger client, they required me to up the ante, so I did that. But yeah, I have errors and omission insurance.
Okay, yeah. So we tell people that some licensees do get that, but for the most part, your liability is pretty limited because the doctors are making those decisions on coding and all that other stuff, right?
Yeah, and the way you protect yourself from that is you don't change what they've given you. So obviously, like anything, as you go through, life with your business and you start to grow and become more educated, you're going to learn more things. As you start determining that potentially they gave you a wrong code, like for an example, Medicare uses a certain code for an annual wellness exam. You're going to learn over the course of time what that code is. And sometimes they're going to give you the wrong code. The way that you protect yourself is you don't change the code. You notify the physician that they used the wrong code and ask their permission to change it. And once you have in writing their permission to change it, then you go ahead and make the change. Now the liability goes back on them because you didn't do anything without asking their permission.
Great. That makes perfect sense. Cool. Let's see. Daniel is asking, what is the credentialing service that you mentioned? Can you do that in layman's terms real quick?
So when a physician is practicing, they have to be contracted with insurance companies. So the credentialing part is basically filling out their application for that to take place.
It's just a bunch of paperwork, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And the doctors don't have the time to do it, and so that has become an industry in and of itself, is helping the doctors fill out all the paperwork. That's what credentialing is, Daniel.
Yeah.
So that's another service that you charge extra for, obviously, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So there's another service right there that you do a lot more than billing.
Uh-huh.
All right. So let's see. Angie's asking, how much do you pay your employees? Is it per hour? Do you have salaried employees or commission only or contractors? How do you set that up?
Yeah. So my office now is broken up into 3 departments, if you will. So I have front office staff, so secretary, let's say, and she supports me with my issues. And then I have a finance department. So they do everything related to the money. So they post all EOBs, ERAs. I know I'm using acronyms. I don't know if everybody knows what those are quite yet. But anyway, they deal with the money. And then I have account managers, and they're responsible for everything having to do with a claim. So the creation of a claim, scrubbing the claim, making sure that the payer processes it correctly. And so for my account managers, I actually pay them a percentage of every single dime they collect. And everybody else is either salary or hourly. So it just really kind of depends. The people that have been with me the longest are salary employees, and then as you start, I keep you hourly until you reach a certain amount of time with me, and then I switch you to salary.
Interesting. Okay. That's a good way to do it. That sounds good.
Well, I think from an account, if I can just elaborate, the account manager specifically, I mean, for them, they're responsible for getting these claims paid. And if they know that they have some skin in the game, meaning, if I get these extra 10 done this month, they know that, they get a little bump in pay. It gives them an incentive as opposed to paying them per hour. Like, they don't care if they get the claim paid. So that's been my philosophy, and it's worked out really well for me.
Great. Sounds good. And so your day-to-day, what does day-to-day look like for you? You just go in the office and start cracking the whip?
Yeah, 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 I'm hardcore like that. No, I would say, yeah, I mean, I love coming into the office. So, I mean, I'll come into the office in the morning after I drop the kids at school, check my emails, you know, do whatever reports or whatever I have to watch because I really probably act more like an office manager. You know, I'm checking AR reports. I'm checking to see what our collections rate is. I'm checking to see what our denial rate is. Putting out fires. I go to a lot of meetings with our clients, so different docs will want to see us about different issues, so I'm out and about doing that. But I think that this industry offers a huge amount of flexibility, and that's one of the things I enjoy about it. And so I really try to extend that to my staff. I mean, my theory is like we have a job to do, and as long as it's done, then, you know, if you have a doctor's appointment or whatever, go do whatever you got to do. So, I mean, I kind of take that, you know, the same way. And my daughter's birthday's coming up. I'll take, you know, the day off, or if we want to go on vacation, we go on vacation. I'm not stressed about being right here, you know, and the beauty of it too is that everything we do is web-based. So I'm not stuck at the office if I don't want to be.
That's awesome. And I think that's what most people on this webinar want. You know, they want freedom to hang out with their family more. You know, that's what people, I mean, at least that's my thing.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So I've got 3 little kids, and this is, you know, ABS is a family business, and I just love being able to spend more time with them. Now, some people do not want to spend more time with their family, but I do. So, yeah. All right, a couple more questions here. I know we're almost up on the hour here. Let's see. Foster says, Tierni, this is great. Question. Based on what you know now, what would you have done in the first 6 months of your business to get clients sooner?
I would have been more aggressive. I think that I kind of always, I mean, I feel like I'm repeating myself. I've kind of always had like a really casual approach to marketing for this business. And I think it's because I never envisioned growing it like this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, I was going to be happy with just a handful of clients. That's really all I was looking for. And as I would obtain one, it was really important for me to make sure that I was doing a good job for them. And I really wanted to be educated in what I was doing. So, I mean, I'd get one, you know, as a new specialty, obviously, because I'd never been billing before. So I would just dive in and learn everything I could possibly learn about that specialty, you know, and then another one would come along. And then I'd do the same thing with that one. So I don't know. I don't know for me that I would have done anything different to get more clients because I was on a different path. I wasn't worried about gobbling up every single account I could. But had I wanted more clients, I would have just spent more time marketing.
Gotcha. Yeah, sometimes that laid back California style, you know, you just take it as it comes.
I know.
That's what we like about you, Tierni.
Thank you. Good.
Okay, let's see here. A couple more questions. Credentialing, yeah, we talked about you charge an extra fee. You charge like a flat fee for the credentialing, right, on top of the percentage for the billing?
Yeah, it just really depends. I mean, I don't do a ton of it, so I mean, I can't quote you pricing off the top of my head, but I have a pricing sheet for it, and when, you know, the situation arises, then I just kind of pull it out and go with it. So a lot of times, you know, physicians will just need to be credentialed with like one payer. So it's not that they're brand new, fresh out of school, and you have to do the whole thing. Sometimes it's like, hey, can you just re-credential me with Medicare? So it just really kind of depends on the situation and the circumstances.
Yeah. And Rick asked that question. And also, Rick, we have licensees who would be happy to do the credentialing on your behalf. So you could charge the doctors, you know, a fee for that, and then of course pay the licensee to do the work for you, and you get to make a little bit of money on it, and you don't have to do any of the work. So you do have that as an option as well.
Yeah, and that's actually a great point that I hadn't made, Adam, is that, you know, you have the option of doing exactly what you just said, but with any of the services, I mean, like, you know, I know you guys offer coding and different things like that. I mean, when I first started, you know, I never told a client, you know, no, I can't do credentialing for you. I would say, yeah, I'll do it for you, and then behind the scenes, I'm subcontracting it out to somebody else. So long as you can manage it, you don't need to tell them no. There's a way to, for you to benefit from it and still help them at the same time.
Yeah, that's our model for most of the ancillary services. We have technology partners that do the work behind the scenes, and so the doctors feel like the licensee is the one doing the work. They don't really know that it's a technology partner, but the licensee gets to make money on it, but they don't actually have to do the work. So yeah.
They don't care as long as the job gets done.
Yeah, works out pretty well. Well, I've got a few more slides to go through here. I appreciate you being on with us. I'm sorry if we didn't get to answer all your questions, guys. But if you would like to ask Tierni anything offline, just send it to your business coach with ABS, and we can get her that question sent in. And I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, Tierni. Thank you for being on. Thanks for being on today, and looking forward to seeing your business grow even more.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, guys.
All right. Have a good day.